Thank you, Ms. Harman. Mr. Rogers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One of the things, and Ms. Harman and I are working together on an incentive program to get us there. And when you look at the places where we've provided incentives, the market kicks in faster, cheaper, better. And I get a little worried that this is a huge government-mandated program that is very complicated. Who's involved in the trading? Who actually determines at the end of the day what the value of CO2 or methane is? How do you quantify it? So a lot of the jobs we're talking about are going to be folks who aren't really producing anything, but they're going to be living on the backs of those who are producing something. Because the government mandated a system that really hasn't been flushed out all that well. And I would hope that we would stop and pause for a minute and try to find ways to incentivize people. I had a bill in 2006, an Energy Star system for servers, computer servers, because the largest growing energy use in the United States at that time were server farms. And lo and behold, built on an incentive system, it has radically changed the way. Now they advertise on those servers which are the most efficient servers. And it changed the way. If you talk to the people in the industry, they say it absolutely changed the way we buy, produce, sell servers. Fantastic. We didn't mandate anything. And it concerns me for a couple of reasons, and I wanted to talk to the Secretary for a minute. I come from Michigan. Nobody's hurt more in this economy than we are. And to say that this administration has done more for the car companies than anyone else is a bit shocking to us who live there. And I'll give you a couple of examples. They went in, and the guy who cut the workforce from General Motors in half, got concessions from the union, produced the car of the year last year, the CTS Cadillac. Oh, by the way, produced the car of the year, the Malibu, both of which are built in my district, by the way, this year. The government came in and said, you got to go, you're fired, oh, and take the board with you, and you have 30 days for a viability plan. That's pretty hard to recover from when you're going through all of those tough times. And oh, by the way, they have more cars that get over 30 miles to the gallon than any other car company, period, in the world. The government didn't do that. They did that. The Chevy Volt, which Mr. Dingell so aptly talked about, will revolutionize the way we think about commuting and how we power our cars. It's the first time it's an electric-driven engine that is charged by gasoline versus the other way around, which really radically departs even from hybrid technology. Very exciting. Billions and billions of dollars of research, decades. They were ahead of the curve. And what do? We come to this committee and kick them around. They finally got the attention of the American people. Really? In 2007, they mandated $80 billion in costs on these car companies. Gasoline went to $4.50, and they're struggling to make it. And we are losing jobs as fast as we can count them. So be careful when you tell us that. The proposal for cap and tax will raise the energy rates for producing everything in the United States of America. Secretary Chu, you mentioned that, gee, if we raise the rates of gasoline, it's going to hurt average Americans. Absolutely right. If we dramatically raise the rates of electricity, we will not be competitive when it comes to building anything in the United States. It is an attack on the middle class. It's an absolute slap in the face to everybody that got up and built good cars, or they built houses, or they got in their car and drove somewhere to build something of use in the United States. And guess what India said this week? They're not going to play along. Go ahead, United States, make yourself uncompetitive, because we've got lots of mouths to feed, and we would love to be the new center of the middle class in the next several hundred years. I'm just shocked that you would say that about a company who has done so much to survive and will lead the way in 2011 when that Chevy Volt rolls off the line. Also in the new proposal, there's an inventory tax increase. And if you produce anything in a just-in-time manufacturing system, you are getting hurt by this inventory tax increase. So manufacturers are going to take it on both ends of this. That is very frustrating to those of us who represent lots of people who believe that the middle class is important. And I had questions, but the fact that you stand before us and tell us that you have done more for the automobile companies than other administration, as you can tell, put a burr under my saddle. We certainly don't think so. And we would hope that you would look at every job lost. You talk about green jobs created. You forgot to tell us how many manufacturing jobs go overseas. And we know there's a bunch of them. So, Mr. Chairman, I would argue we better go slow, and we better worry about the middle class in this country that is quickly evaporating because of all of the weight and burden we're putting on their ability to produce anything in the United States.
Gentleman's time has expired, but Secretary LaHood, if you would like to make a comment, we would allow you to do so. Thank you. Chair recognizes the gentleman.